I'm sharing the link. You can share as well. Click like so the others can get a notification. Final English A revision. All right, good night, everybody. Let's see who's with us here. I was waiting for this. Okay. All right, so let's get the viewers in, and then we will start. This shouldn't be as long as English B was, because we have to do so many things. Good. So, how's everybody doing? How's the revision? While we wait on people, we can have a possible person call and let's have a chat on your preparation for the exam. You want to get the views over 60. If you want to join me in a discussion, you can call me on that number there. And let's have a chat while the others are joining. So English A is simpler than English B, a lot simpler, so it's easier to pass and to do well in English A. There is not as many things that can go wrong in the exam. We just want to have a basic understanding of how well you're able to express and understand the elements of writing. English, you have been, hi, good evening, no sleep tonight. Right, so, okay, no sleep tonight. That's a good thing. Sleep is for the weak. Yeah, so English A is not as difficult, but you still have to know certain key things when it comes to English A. So we're gonna go through some of those tonight, and hopefully we'll be a little better than we came with at the end of this. Go ahead and like the video, so you can push out the messages that we're live. Go ahead and call if you want to be a part of a discussion. I've attached the number there so you can all see the number. Anybody can call, it's fine. Let's have that discussion. How your preparations are so far and things of that nature. $1,000 likes tonight. Okay. I'm not gonna be optimistic. Y'all know you like sharing too much, less 1,000. Yeah, so when is English A exam? When is the exams? When is the exams? It's lonely here, man. I'm talking to myself. No fun in that. Claiming all ones. Okay, you go. Remember, you don't necessarily need a grade 1 to move on with life. The 31st of May, okay, good. Sometimes all you need to do is pass, right? Yes, you all are overachievers and you want to excel. Make sure you pass. Make sure you pass. Mad you likes with the viewers. As soon as we get above 60, we will begin. So tell your friends, share the link. We were just on a 3 hour live with English A recap, English B recap. So I'm tired, and I don't see anybody who was on that live, so I guess they're tired too. So they're taking a break, but remember, no rest for the wicked or the ugly. So I don't like talking alone. So it's gonna end quickly. All right. So English A exam is, like I said already, easier. The exam, you have 4 sections. One, two, three, four. Yeah, 4 sections to answer 4 questions. There is a summary. English be holding you by the throat. Why? Why? We have so many videos here on the channel for English A and English B. It shouldn't be holding you by the throat. You just waited too late, I guess. So you can't review everything in time. Alright, here what I'll advise you to do. Learn 2 poems well and go and look at those books, the videos in the books, and the drama. So look at Tijan and his brother's video. Look at To Kill a Mockingbird video and learn 2 poems. You can do that in a day. Right? So start now. You have time. Know them well, and you have to write the essay. You have to write an essay to compare them or to essay to explain them. Right? So start preparing them. Start preparing for that. Good. We are talking about English A nonetheless. English A exam, 4 sections, a summary, a section B, which is going to be the only surprise in the exam. Section C would be your argumentative essay and then your short story. Right? We are not talking about English B. We are done with that. We're talking about English A now. Right? Is there anyone here from my personal class? English A and English B. Oh, good. Right. All right, good. So English A and English B, paper 1 and paper 2 is on the same day. Most of the big exams have this paper 1 and the paper 2 on the same day. Yeah. Good. So let's talk about. Oh, we're still fresh. Let's talk about the short story. Yeah, let's talk about the short story. All right, Daniel, it's good. Good. So the short story is your take on a question that you have to really express yourself on. So exam will give you a random statement that you have to include or a random picture that you have to write on. When that exam gives you that question, you have to be able to adequately tell a story. Now, a story is some problem that was experienced or encountered, and there is a resolution to that problem. The resolution to the problem does not always have to be happy or doesn't always have to be a soothing ending. Once the problem is fixed or resolved, you'll get marks for your short story, right? So you don't have to say, oh, and they live happily ever after. That's boring. And nobody do boring. That's lame, right? Your story should have a plot twist, something that we didn't expect at the end, right? Things like that will really spark interest, right? And I think a lot of students though don't actually take time to develop the plot. The plot is all about what the story is about. What is the problem? How is that problem climaxing? Where, when, how is that story taking place? What is the conflict? What is the story? What is the suspense? All of those things you have to bring out in the story, right? And some people don't take time to tell the story. Think about it like a movie. And everybody has looked at movies before. You watch a movie, you don't want to see a boring movie. You don't want to see a movie that doesn't have a problem. What is the whole point to the movie if there's no problem? Right? The same thing will be with your short stories. Your short stories should have a problem. And if they have a problem, then they should have a resolution to that problem. Right? So good. Good. So you should have a resolution to that problem. And as you resolve the problem, you would realize that sometimes the problem don't always have to end with a happy ending, and that's okay, right? All right, we will talk about the summary. That's fine. Yeah. So the story. One thing you have to learn: make sure you have proper paragraphs there. You must clearly indent. Last year, I actually marked the short story question for the English exam, and the problem I saw with a lot of students, there was not a clear paragraphing technique. People just everything just bulk up there. It was difficult to read. Make your stories easy to be digested. Nicely paragraph. Use your quotation marks to show conversation, but don't have an entire dialogue, a whole page of back and forth writing. No, boring, right? Have one conversation, then somebody responds, that's fine, and that's it. But don't go back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, everybody talking. That's boring. Right? Yes, you can leave the reader in suspense, but in the same time as you are leaving the reader in suspense, make sure you end. Make sure you end the story. So whatever the conflict was, make sure that conflict is resolved before you move on. Okay? Good. What do we see here? Good. So the short story is fun, man. Something is fun. It's you writing, showing off your writing, right? What topic do you think is coming for the argument? Uh, so the argument question, we'll come to that in a bit. Let's explore the short story a little bit more. But the argument often will surround school, society, or the family. Parents should be blamed for this, teachers should be blamed for that, children should be blamed for that. For example, last year's topic was parents should pay when children vandalize furniture at school, right? So it often deals with the family or it deals with the society, school. Those three things that they explore, right? But it's going to be a question that students can relate to, or students should be able to relate to at your level. It's not going to be anything that is you have never seen before. It should be something that you can relate to, right? If you don't understand the question the first time you read it again. Read it again. The more you read, the more you'll understand, right? Everything sometimes when you read the first time, it doesn't make sense to you, right? And as you more and more you read it, it becomes more apparent, right? Good. So I'm gonna read for you a short story I have here on the channel. That's a nice video you should check out if you don't know about it already. It explains how to write a short story, and it also gives an example of the short story. All right, so let me see if I can get this here quickly. Huh. So you should name your story as well. Try to name your short story. Naming your short story is very important. two words, three words, not a whole sentence. Name your short story, right? The one I have here, I have named it Grasping Death. It says, as I stood there, my very soul cried out. She hung there like a black apostrophe to pain. Emotions in me failed to elude my already sundered eyes. At that very moment, it seemed that all I knew was pain, black biting pain. She was gone, my only hope, and now I was all alone and I had to face the unimaginably painful reality. So that is what we call a flashback. It starts with a problem and then it goes on to show how we got to that problem. It's like when you watch a movie, it starts with a problem and then it goes on to say 5 years earlier or 10 days earlier, right? So that is how you go on to do a flashback. You get good marks for a flashback technique, right? You don't necessarily always have to do it, but you get good marks for a flashback technique if you do it, right? Good. So let me continue. It all started the day, you see that? It goes back to show it all started. That's a flashback, right? It all started the day we left the little shack we had called home for 16 years. This 16 years here, I don't know how I'm explaining it, is indicating the age of one of the siblings. And the other's age is mentioned later, right? The writer skillfully does that. You are the author. You create whatever you want to create, right? And you don't have to always make it apparent. Oh, she was 5 years old. No, boring. It started at 6 a.m. The sun was right. No, come on, make it interesting. You can say the sun leaped for the horizon as I exited my house. That signifies to me it's morning, right? Don't say it was bright and beautiful, the birds were chirping and I woke up from my bed. That's boring. We have seen that many times before. Let me see something out of the box, something that sparks my attention, right? So, gotta be creative, gotta think out of the box, and you get good marks for that, right? All right, let me stop talking and read now. It all started when we left that little shack we had called home for 16 years. My sister, my motivation, my strength, was the only friendly face I recall. Where we came from, I can't remember. What I remember, however, was the bitterness I felt when I looked at other little boys. They had it all: a mother, father, money, shoes, and looks. All this did was break my already crushed heart. What am I living for? I often asked, sometimes out loud. Inside school, I remember them talking about this God. They claim he was the most supreme, the most peaceful, the most powerful. But what they failed to say was how this God watched my sister hurt. How this God watched me hurt. How this God watched my sister be the victims of unspeakable horror. God? My father, the only parent I knew, stood there and watched as he raped her. Of course, he didn't mind. He was being paid on my sister's pain. Little scrawny me stretched my hand out to remind my sister that there's a God. As I touched her, she shivered. She was cold. Tears danced down her long, thin face with every painful moan. I was helpless. There was nothing I could have done. At every grasp of air, my father laughed at her, his own flesh and blood. God, I screamed, help her, please. But the 6 years I had earned on this wretched earth didn't give me the bravery to utter those words out loud. I'm heartbroken before I know love. I am sad before I know happiness. I am robbed before I had anything, her eyes told. He left her there sprawled like a slaughtered animal and threw paper at my father as payment. With an arched back, he exited our shack, our home. Mary, Mary, I'm sorry, I muttered. She smiled, the most peaceful, untouched, heavenly smile there ever could be. Maybe she's God, I thought. How can she smile after such a. It'll be okay, she interrupted my thought. God will hear our prayers one day, she continued. Oh well, at least I know she wasn't God. But it was hard for me to understand then what that smile really meant. Johnny, please go outside and bring my dress, she bidded pitifully. As I got up, I looked to the sun. It was shining so brightly outside, but it seems like the sun's rays never seemed to have entered our home. Through the four holes in the wall we call windows, the sun's rays stood still. They weren't rays of hope, but merely citizens governed by the laws of physics. As I walked to the line where my sister's cloth she called dress hung, just then I saw that beast, that thing that called himself a man, drunk coming up the road, drunk on money paid for my sister's innocent pain. I saw the fierce anger in his dark, evil eyes as he came closer. I grabbed the dress and ran to my sister. Once I entered the galvanized door, I saw a pair of legs higher than my head. She hung there, in the air, with foam oozing from her mouth. Mary, Mary, I cried, as I saw that smile, quite briefly this time. I kneeled to the floor and looked at what I guess was my sister's last words, carved there. Run, Johnny, run. I knew that was my name. She taught me that. But what I didn't know was what those other two words were. But I felt the urge to get up and walk. Where the energy deprived strength came from, I didn't know. As I walked as quickly as I could have, in the middle of the paved road, all I could remember was peep, peep, blam. That's the end of that. So what's the conflict? Conflict is two children that was with the father, an evil man, that was being abused. The resolution was sad, one ended life, and the other potentially being killed by a vehicle as an accident. The point is, the problem, which is the story of the abuse, has come to an end. It is not a favorable ending, but it's an end nonetheless. Right? You can use anything at the starting. You can use anything at the starting of your story. All you have to do is try to make it interesting, something that captures my attention. Hmm? Captures the reader's attention, that is. Yeah. Good. So that's that. The story ought to be interesting. Try to be as creative as possible. Include conversation, include description. If you notice, I've described the person as I was speaking. Try to do some description. How the person looks, how the tears come down their face, how their smile was. Was the smile radiant? Compare it to something, use a simile, metaphor, something that adds life to the story. Right? It doesn't have to be sad like mine. I just I'm a sad person, I guess, so I would often write sad stories. But it doesn't have to be sad. It can be interesting. It can be happy. But something. Make sure the ending is not what we expect. You get good marks for that. But make sure the problem is resolved. Don't end the story without resolving the main conflict. The main conflict must be resolved, and as the main conflict is resolved, you bring an end to the conflict, but you can create another problem that sees a continuation. You ever watch a movie where the movie ends, but you know there will be a part two because it ends so abruptly? Good. That's what I'm talking about. Let me know. What do you think? Are you following? Good. Excellent. Let me see if there's any questions. Can you write explicit? You can use explicit in the conversation, but don't write out the word. You can just write the first and last letter. But it's not everything is a cuss. Remember, oftentimes is age people marking your exam paper, and that's quite a turn off, right? But the conversation is where you get a chance to use your Creole and things like that. So you can put that there, but just make sure that your writing is clear. Some teachers would say, "Oh, don't do it, don't do it." You can do it. Nothing's wrong with it, but the entire story is not a cuss up show. So you have moderation in your thing, in your writing. Good. So that's your short story. The picture is the same thing. Let me show you how the question will come. The question will give you a line, and they will tell you include that line in the story. You including the line in the line can come anywhere. It can come at the start, at the middle, at the end, it doesn't matter. If they tell you use the line to start a story, that's the only time you will use it to start. Once they say use it to start or use it at the end, you have to do that. But if they say include a line, that line can come anywhere. Start, end, middle, it doesn't matter. All right? This the picture again, the idea of the picture must be referenced in the writing. Now let me tell you something. I'll try to say it as slowly as possible. I'm tired, but I'm going to try to say it as slowly as possible. Your short story is not explaining the line, should not be explaining the picture. You are telling a story, and in passing, in telling that story, you will reference a line or you will reference what's happening in a picture. But the story is not explaining what is happening in the picture. Students would write a story explaining let's say last year's picture was a picture of three children, I think. And I read a story, was terrible. The student wrote everything. Oh, this picture was taken then, and then the picture in the picture there's a two, and there's no story to it. You have to have a story. There must be some conflict. That conflict must be resolved. That conflict must peak in terms of climax. Somebody must be doing something to someone. There must be characters in this, not you explaining any picture. Am I making sense? Am I making sense? They can't mark the paper easy. There's a mark scheme, and we follow the mark scheme. It's whether or not you do what you're supposed to do. Good. Um, Let me hear some questions in the short story. Ask your questions that I probably didn't answer already. Oh, the word limit. There is technically no limit. We will read it all. The thing that CXC puts there as 400 to 450 is what we think is an adequate word count for a decent story. It is not a limit to you. Oftentimes, the best stories will go on to win, I think, a 2,000 or a 1,000 US prize. Those best stories are not 400 words. Those best stories are 700 and so on. I don't mean to go on and write a long story like that just to get this prize, but make sure your story is of substance. So there's no limit per se, but just as we think around 450 words is a good count that you have developed a decent story to get a decent grade. That's our view. Can you go ahead now and ask some questions about the story? Less words is bad. Less words mean that you have not developed the art of writing a story, and how far down you go, it means that you haven't developed the things that we need to mark you. Right? You watch my videos all day today. I'm happy to hear that. I hope it was helpful. When I say don't explain the picture, I mean everything about this story does not surround this picture. In your story, if you're writing on a picture, you would write about the elements of what's happening in this picture in passing. In other words, you're continuing to tell the story, and the story relates to some situation in a picture, and you move on. For example, last year I marked a story. The picture was three children, and the story was about how a mother was searching all over for her children. They were kidnapped and blah blah blah. It all happened, and in the end, she searched all over. She just followed a lead, thinking that she would get them back. It ended up a dead end, and at the end, all she had was a picture to stare at their faces and smile one last time. That's what I mean. Write the story and mention the picture in passing. That writer mentioned the picture, but did not go to explain, oh, the big boy at the end is the bigger brother, his name is Mark, the other one is James, and the middle one there is the baby, and no. You think you understand what I'm saying, guys? No, you don't have to be 450 words. Yeah, think outside the box. That's the point. Yeah, you can write. Let me tell you something. When I teach my students, I teach them oftentimes to keep the same storyline that you've been working on and perfecting over the year, and then all you do is just use that story and transition with the line that CXC gives you to include, and you continue talking like it's a brand new story. But you just have been the same story that you've been working on all the time. No, I will not be live tomorrow. This is the last live I'm doing for the exam period 2022. I have my own exams I have to prepare for. This is the last live I'll be doing for 2022. So you guys, I hope you take it very helpful, or it is very helpful to you. Um, how do you format the dialogue? Good. Those are the questions I want to hear. And I'm saying again, it's not a dialogue. So please don't refer to it as a dialogue. It's not a dialogue. It's a conversation. A dialogue is different. Many years ago, there used to be the story section used to actually be a dialogue section. They don't do that now. It's a conversation, and in the conversation, it's using dialogue. Good. So you're writing your paragraph. You indent to show your paragraph. Let's say the line we indent to show our paragraph is about 2 cm. Just say 2 cm. Whenever a new speaker is speaking, you go into a new line and you indent also. But you don't indent as far as to show the paragraph. You indent about half of that. Let's say 1 cm. The indentation shows the conversation. You open your quotation marks, you put the exact words spoken by the person, you close your quotation mark. Your punctuation mark is inside. Your punctuation mark is inside the quotation mark. Close the quotation mark. Said who, shouted who, asked who. Whenever a new speaker is speaking, you always go to a new line, you indent, and you show your conversation. Let's say a brief description happens. Let's say John said, I am the one for you. He said as he smiled sheepishly. And he continues speaking. I will be the best boyfriend ever. Let's say he says that. Because the same person is speaking, you don't go to a new line, but you can continue writing that conversation using your quotation mark at the middle of the line. The only time you go to a new line and you indent is when a new speaker is speaking. Whenever a new speaker is speaking, you go to a new line and you indent. Is that clear? Good. So that's your short story. There's nothing off limits when you're writing about a short story, to be honest. But if we do see anything that's graphic or anything that tells us that this child needs help, we can recommend to our supervisors that some sort of investigation be done, right? But nothing is really off limit. It's all about how well you can express your point of view. Now let's focus on the argument now. So the argument, again, oh, the short, so you should take 45 minutes to do that. So if you take 45 minutes and you write 10 words every minute, you'll get up to 450 words. 10 words a minute is not very hard. Nothing is wrong with that. You can do that just fine. The argument, we recommend around 250, 300 words as a decent word count to have a decent argument. The argument, you should have an introduction and a conclusion. Every essay should be a conclusion and introduction. In the introduction, you just briefly state what the topic is and say what the essay will highlight. For example, let's say our topic is about arranged marriages. Give me, and what you should try to do before you start writing, write your points down to support or oppose your point before you begin writing. I have a video here on argumentative essay writing as well. Just YouTube my name, Jamain Hatton, together with argumentative essay writing, and you will see a very nice video there that goes on to explain all the techniques, and there's also a sample essay at the back of it. Go look for that. Don't wait until the night before the exam to look for it. It's there. I have a YouTube video on paper 3 as well. I'm not going to go into that. There's a video there already on paper 3. So just look for them. Good. So let's explore a topic together. Let's say our topic is marriages. Arranged marriages should be allowed in every household. Arranged marriages should be allowed in every household. Arranged marriages should be allowed in every household. Write an essay agreeing or disagreeing with this. Let me see your points. Send your points in there in the chat. What might some points be for that? Tell me why you say that as well. Can you repeat? Repeat what? Oh, sorry, the question. Yeah, sure. Arranged marriages should be allowed in every Caribbean household. Write an argument agreeing or disagreeing with that. So go ahead and tell me what you think would be some points to support or oppose that. Let me hear the points. I don't know if you agree or disagree. Y'all little children would never agree to those things. Y'all always think parents, y'all always think y'all parents out to get y'all. Your parents know best. But let's hear your reasons. Why would you oppose arranged marriages? Arrange, again, before you jump to write your essay, make sure you understand what the essay is asking you. If you write an entire essay and you misinterpret the question, you will not do well. In fact, you will fail. All right? So make sure you understand the question. The question says arranged marriages. So if the marriage is arranged, it means somebody hooking the two of you up. Oftentimes the parents. Why do you agree with arranged marriages? Why would you disagree with arranged marriages? Let me hear some points that you would put. All right, so a good point, fair point, is that when you don't know the person, you get a chance to experience the truth of the person. There might be conflicts later on. There may be conflicts later on in the family. Fair enough. That's a fair point. A mutual feeling in arranged marriage. There's not often a mutual feeling in arranged marriage. Okay. So the love might not be there. But what if I tell you love grows? You might not start loving the person, but over time you start loving the person. It's a point. But good. Whatever you put as your point, you have to now explain that point using examples and go on to try to convince the reader of the point you are trying to make. Good. So let's open now for the next half hour or so. Let's try to examine some arguments. I'll give you some topical points and you will write for me, or you will tell me rather, how you're leaning towards the point. Good. So I've gotten you responding to this point. I like that. So I'm going to throw out another topic there. And at this point, you will call me and you will speak, because I can't be the only one talking here. I really want to end this because I'm tired. So you will call me and you will speak and tell me what you think about the topics I'm going to give you. I think my number is pinned there. If it's not, I'm going to do it again. So you can call the number on WhatsApp and you can let me hear your point of view. Let me hear your point of view on the topic. So the first argument is this one. Marijuana use should be illegal. Marijuana use should be illegal. I don't want to hear whether you agree or disagree. I want to hear your point. What's your point? Show me your point to support or oppose. Right? And I would prefer somebody call in, please. I'm tired of talking. So can we have somebody to call in. Marijuana use should be illegal. Anybody? Come on. Yeah, so we're all shy to call. Why are you shy to call? Don't be. Come on, man. Nobody's hearing your name or so. Just talk. All right? I am tired of talking. So it's either you people call in or I'm going to end this because I don't want to talk more. So Hoyt says, I disagree. In the eyes of parents or family members, the chosen spouse might be perfect, but it might be a different story when the husband or the wife move in together. Fair enough point. Very good point. All right.
Have a good night, sir.
Mr. Jones, good night. What's up?
I feel very nice on your life, sir.
Okay.
You could call me.
Wow. Wow. Boy. What's your contribution on the topic?
Sir?
Marijuana use should be illegal. What do you think?
Marijuana should be legal?
Marijuana use should be illegal. What do you think?
Yes. We do not want to encourage drug abuse by giving them an excuse.
So after
That's my
sitting,
take on it.
that's why you think it should be illegal.
Yeah.
So after you start in my biology class, you gonna tell me the only purpose of marijuana is to abuse drugs. You wanna really tell me that after you, potential grade one student from my biology, will tell me that? Okay,
So you know very well I would have put on the paper.
okay, all right. Anything else?
I've been taught better by the good looking Jamain Hatton.
Well. There you go. There you go. What else?
Yes.
But you're not even writing English A, are you?
No, I
So
only
what?
wrote English, eh?
So what are you writing? Why are you looking at this live?
Because why not?
Oh, okay. Because why not? Okay. Interesting. All right. Any tips for them? For the persons who might be looking at the live and might be nervous about the English A exams?
Alright, I could tell you one thing. For paper one, they're literally just asking you the common sense things for English, subject and verb agreement, nouns, verbs. Normal things that you would be going through in class. The paper two, as per usual, summary writing, maybe a letter, report. And that's about it. Just make sure to develop your points really well. Read through your passages carefully, very carefully.
Right.
And for paper one, always make sure you read back the question because sometimes they like include a nice little trick. And that's about it.
Yeah.
The entire premise for it is to be very careful when you're reading.
I agree. Good. Thank you, Javon.
You're welcome, sir. Good night, everyone.
Good night. Good. So there is Javon, one of my potential star students for my science classes later on this year. When the results come out, that is. Anybody else want to call in? Let me hear some points to support or oppose the use of marijuana. I want to hear meat to your point. Don't just tell me agree, disagree. Develop your point, develop your reasoning, develop your skill. Well, I take. Somebody said the man get cute vibes there. These little girls terrible. hope it's not Javon telling about himself, you know. That would be pathetic. All right, good. Let's hear somebody else. Come on, come on, come on. Call in. Don't be shy. All right, don't want to call for that? Let me give you another one. The question is, you're giving me your points to support or oppose the use of marijuana. Whether marijuana should be legal or illegal. Marijuana use should be legal or illegal. Good. Let me give you another one now. Teachers should take total responsibility when children fail exams. Teachers should take total responsibility when children fail exams. Agree or disagree? Teachers should take total responsibility when children fail exams. What do you guys think there? Call in, man. Let's hear. You agree? What's your point for agreeing? What's your point for disagreeing? Let me hear. My number is on the screen. Plus 592-645-8503. Oh gosh. You got a blue. Wow. There's a struggle and a half. Goodbye. Come on, somebody call. Teachers should take total responsibility when children perform badly on a test. Agree or disagree? All right, let me examine the question. It's going to end very soon because not a lot is coming here. So, supporting teachers, opposing teachers. You can say that children, a lesson might be taught, but the children might not be listening. Should you blame the teacher when the child doesn't pay attention? Should you blame the teacher when the child doesn't do the task that is expected of them to pass? Child doesn't do homework. The child doesn't do assignments. The child doesn't reread. The child doesn't pre-read. The child has to be blamed for that. Parents not being around to monitor children's performance should equally be blamed. The teacher may want to say the teacher doesn't actually teach. Yes, the teacher should be blamed. Right? But let's hear what you say, man. Come on, somebody call. So Dayton says disagrees. Learning is a two-way road. Teachers are responsible for educating, and it's a child's responsibility for replicating that and putting in the work at the end of the day. Fair enough. Students prepare themselves efficiently. Teachers are not responsible for children's failure. Students should take response. Those are all three of the same points. Teenagers are technically a young adult going into life of work, hence they will not have someone to back and support them. It's a hot topic. Yeah, it's a hot topic. Some teachers will put out a lot of effort to make students pass, however, children don't listen. Children can put it children can put it in work and they procrastinate. Okay, I get the point you're making. Alright. So I agree with that point. The teacher can be doing the most, but if the child doesn't take the responsibility and actually cement their own learning, nothing is going to be done. For example, year after year, I have students who I would help with SBAs, and still, after all the help, over and over and over, you get them a chance to correct and to do and to do and to do. They still don't do what they're supposed to do, right? Let me get another topic. Something more creative. Premarital sex should be punishable by law. Premarital sex should be punishable by law. And now I guess everybody will call in. What do you think? Support, oppose. If you're going to support the point, premarital sex should be punishable by law, you have to show me all the reasons why you think the law should punish premarital sex. First, before you jump into writing, you must try to understand what the term premarital means. Pre means before, marital means marriage. So premarital means before marriage. So premarital sex, sex before marriage, should be punishable by law. Do you agree? Why do you agree? Do you disagree? Why do you disagree? Let me hear some points. I'm trying to get y'all to talk. Y'all not saying much. Somebody can call and let me hear your opinion. In 5 minutes, if nobody calls, I'm ending the live. I'm tired. I want to sleep. Four minutes more. The law does not control our private part. That's a good point. Should not control, I guess. Okay. So if it's some illegal activity, shouldn't the law control it? Okay. Come on, somebody call. Let me hear your opinion. Yeah, you're saying agree, disagree. Come on, let me hear your points. Can't we send voice notes? Yeah, you can. You can, but please be respectful. Because I can't edit or so. So just please. Yeah, you can send voice notes if you wish. That's fine. A great role in marriage. Okay, fair enough. That's a decent point. You want to explain on that further? Really? Marriage is outdated. Wow. Repeat the question again. So I'm saying, uh, what was I saying again? Premarital sex should be punishable by law. Any other points there? Alright, if you guys don't want to take part, I guess that's done there. I'm not. I'm I'll move on. So the argument, you find the point. You should use a table. There will be a blank page that says you may make notes in a box. Write your points down before you actually start the essay. That will give you good time to think about solid points before you go on to write. Oftentimes students would write and they don't think of good points before they actually start writing. I was actually waiting to hear someone say they agree on the point of decrease in STIs and so on. Good. I was actually looking to hear that. If there's premarital sex, everybody wants to go out and wild out themselves. Oftentimes that will result in STIs and so on. But what is there to say that you can't have an STI when you're in a relationship and married, right? That's a good counter argument to that, right? Good. So, so you give your point. Let me see. Miss Hoyt sent a voice note.
Sorry, I decided to send a voice note because I don't want to call. Um, but I disagree that teachers should be blamed because a teacher's job is to teach the children all that is necessary. But it is the student's job to revise and do assignments and homework based on what was learned, as well as ask questions if something is not understood. Yeah.
Okay. Good. So yeah, you give your point. Give an example of your point. So you want to repeat the opening sentence just to make sure you're following the same point that you're supposed to talk on. Teachers should not be blamed for bad test results since students have a responsibility of their own to recap their work. You go on now to explain or give an example of that. Take, for instance, a teacher gives, breaks down for understanding a particular topic. When that child is in class, oftentimes that child understands, but because they fail to apply that knowledge, because they fail to practice that knowledge, they often forget. That's your example, right? Good. Add rhetorical questions there. Would you disagree? Can a logically thinking person disagree? Those are some points and some rhetorical questions you can add to always spice things up. Put some quotations there, put some numbers there to support your point. The things that we do in the argument are the things that we will not do in the summary. The things that we do in the summary, we will not do in the argument, right? So in the summary, you will not use examples, but in the argument, you will use examples. You will use rhetorical questions. You will use numbers or statistics to support your point. Right? Am I making sense? And at this point, it's a very good point. So the person is saying they agree that premarital sex should not be allowed. And the person said here it will decrease the amount of single, so that should be the number of single parent households, and that's a good thing, right? Yeah, but what is to say that the man can't or the woman can leave after they get married? Nice counter argument. Thank you very much. Thank you. Can you give an example of the apply the research? Okay, fair enough. Just now, give me a minute. Good. So where are we? So research. Let's say the topic is something like nothing is coming to my mind. Sorry. Um. Ooh, 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 ooh. Okay, yeah, the marijuana topic. Good. So let's say I am going to disagree with marijuana being illegal, and I can quote to support my point. So let's say marijuana, this is my point. Marijuana's use is not often only for recreational purposes. Marijuana can also be used medically. Full stop. Research by Dr. J. Westford, leading neurologist attached to Johns Hopkins Hospital, New York, opined that marijuana can be used to treat many underlying medical conditions such as seizures, such as epilepsy, well, seizures, epilepsy, such as cerebral palsy, yada, 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 yada. The mentioning of the doctor's name, John Hopkins Hospital, gives some sort of credibility to your writing, right? And you go on to give examples to support what the point is. Is that understood? Does that make sense? A frog on my page. Oh Lord, yeah, there's a frog there. What else? Okay, does that point make sense? Yeah, there's a frog on the. Y'all don't have frog at your house? It's a rainy season. There's frog all over the place. That's weird. Good. Any other? Any other? Where you from? You must be Jamaican. Y'all don't get frog in Jamaica. Let me guess. Somebody shoot the frogs? I'm going to hell. I'm going to hell. It's so cute and tiny. Okay, can you leave the frog alone? You're. Oh Lord, I hate them. By the way, I hate them. No, 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 bad man, don't frighten frog. Get salt? No, I'm not going to disrupt the frog. The frog is doing its own business. The frog is helping our ecosystem. Now leave the frog alone and let's focus on our exams. Go ahead. I just guessed that, man. Just I don't know. Just coincidental. Good. So the argument is clear. Let's move on now. Summary writing. Let's talk summary. This is the one that students have the most problems with. Why? Caribbean people like talk. The story just go on and on and on, and we don't know when to shut up. And because Caribbean people like talk, we don't know what to put as the most important point. The story go on and on and on and on and on. The purpose of the summary is for you to present information in a condensed form. That is where you're gonna take out the unnecessary information and you will present information that is condensed in terms of short and precise, meaning accurate as possible. That's the point of the summary, right? When I teach this topic, I often ask my students to tell me about a movie that they have looked at, just to see if you understand the element of the summary writing. When you're telling me about a movie, you have to talk about the important only points that are present. You don't want to talk about the frog that was on the wall if this thing is not about the frog that is on the wall. The unnecessary things are left out. If you go over the word limit, this is the only one that the word limit is very heavy. If you go over that word limit, tells the reader and the examiner that information that is there should not have been there. Excuse. If you have more information, that would be examples, things that, quotations, questions, and so on, things that should not have been there. If it's there, that will lead to you going over the limit. If you go way below the limit, 90 words, 80 words, it means in the had there, you did not include. Through a basic step of how we are actually going to do this here. So CXC gives you 6 paragraphs to read and to make a summary. Of the 6 paragraphs, most of the paragraphs are going to speak about a different thing relating to the same topic. Your job is to read through that piece, read it well, to have an understanding. The more you read it, the more you understand it. So you can't read it one time and often think that you will understand everything. It doesn't work like that. Sometimes you have to read it more than once. The more you read it, the more you understand it. Now let me ask you, if you read 6 paragraphs, does that mean you have to write a summary with 6 paragraphs? If you read 6 paragraphs in the piece, does that mean your summary has to have 6 paragraphs? Yes or no? Good. No, it doesn't mean your summary has to have 6 paragraphs, right? You should only write 1 paragraph in your summary. The summary has to be continuous prose, meaning one point will lead to the other. And you're using link words to connect. Link words such as firstly, consequently, furthermore, as a result, to link your ideas, right? But as it relates to your topic, your summary should be presenting the information that is most pertinent that is on that page or on in that piece, right? So let me go about how to do it step by step. First, you have to do is read carefully. Read carefully. As you read, highlight your topic sentences. Yeah, it's going to be in one paragraph. Highlight your topic sentences. Your topic sentences are going to be the sentence that the paragraph is talking about. The paragraph surrounds that sentence. How I tell students to remember it is if I walk up to you and in the middle of the road and read that sentence alone to you, you should be able to understand what I'm saying. If you don't understand what I'm saying when you hear that sentence alone, it means that that's not your topic sentence. So your topic sentence should be able, you should be able to understand clearly your topic sentence when you read that sentence alone. Once you have your topic sentence, try to understand it in your own words. CXC now has given you about 5 points on a separate page that you have to write down main points. When you write those 5 main points, you get 5 marks. It's those main points that you have to highlight from your topic sentences that you're going to use now to write your summary. The thing gets so easy. You read through the summary, you find 5 topic sentences or 5 main ideas. You put those main ideas on those lines, you get 5 marks there. Then you gotta write a summary to connect those points. You use your connecting words to link one idea to the next idea to the next idea. Consequently, furthermore, to begin, additionally, as a result, things like that. When you link one idea to the next idea to the next idea, you are using what we call continuous prose. And that is what you need to do for the exam. Any questions? Does that make sense? I don't know what happens at the end. I don't know if it's taking long to load up, but the intent is for the live to share as soon as I'm done with it. But I don't know if the last live was shared. But yeah, the intent is to share it afterwards. But remember, the things I'm telling you here, guys, there are videos I have on them on the YouTube channel, you know. I have videos here of how to do a summary. I have a longer video and I have a shorter one, how to do a summary in 5 minutes. I have videos on how to write an argumentative essay with example of the argumentative essay. I have a video on how to write a short story with video with example of the short story as well. I have a video on how to do a notice, how to do an email, how to do a letter. All of those videos are here. The entire syllabus for English A is on the channel. The entire syllabus for English B is also on the channel. All you guys have to do is sit down and look at the videos. And don't wait till last minute to look at the video. It will become too much. And listening to my voice over and over is annoying. At least I feel that way. You should try to let your main points be your own words, because it's your main points that you will go on to use to construct the summary. If you do it verbatim, you you can do it verbatim, but you will be penalized if you write a summary verbatim, right? So you should try to let it be your own words so you can be able to make that distinction, right? So that's my take on that. Breaking down again, I'm not sure what you're talking about. How do you start a summary? You read the information that is presented to you, and what the information that is saying to you there, that's what you will use to start your summary. There's no specific way to start a summary. I see some people would often say this extract was written by whoever. Nobody cares about that. Get to the point. The point is about this thing and fossil fuel, or this thing here, ecosystems, this thing, marijuana use, this thing, the moon. Get to the point. That's the whole point. That's the reason why Caribbean people don't do well at summary. We like talk too much. You see, especially Jamaicans. Don't get me started on the Trinidadians, you know. When they write a short story, the short story they're backwards. The Guyanese, oh jeez, they gonna put in what was not supposed to be there, explain everything. Caribbean people, they like that. That's the reason why they don't do well in this English, this summary. Leave Jamaicans alone. oh, oh boy, my head hurts. So, read your summary. Highlight your topic sentence. As you highlight your topic sentence, put that in your own words. Write that point as your main idea. Go through the entire thing. Should be 5 main ideas there. Put those 5 main ideas on the list that CXC would give you. When you read a sentence, when you read a paragraph, one sentence will be the main idea, but it can be other small words or phrases that might be important too. You can highlight those other words or phrases that might be important, and you will keep that for the summary. Not because we find a topic sentence mean there can be nothing else of importance in that paragraph. Yes, there can be. So it's your job to read through that thing, find the topic sentence, but also look for any other important thing in that same paragraph. Is that making sense? Listen, listen. Why are we still talking about this frog? This frog gone about his business all the time already. Why are we talking about this frog? Let me ask y'all something. Where y'all there? Y'all don't see frogs? Hmm? I understand Jamaica might not see frogs because Jamaican they will shoot the frogs and kill the frogs. But I'm sure you see frogs. The Caribbean is a tropical place, and it's rainy right now, so frogs are gonna come inside your house. Y'all don't see frogs? Y'all seriously don't see frogs? We know why there are no frogs in Jamaica. We know why. Clearly. You see the crime rate? The frogs can't stay. The man got beat. You think the frog want to be next? Oh boy. Life is such a beautiful irony. Questions on the summary. Type your questions in. Are you a teacher? Well, I don't know how to answer that question. I am a teacher until this year. I'll cease to be a teacher from this year. Donated night. Listen, I'm not gonna fall for that donation thing. You people have been donating money since the last time, and y'all really ain't donating nothing. So y'all don't set me up. do I find the topic sentence in each paragraph? Broke as a joke. Uh, so your topic sentence, like I said to you earlier, will be that sentence that the entire paragraph surrounds. If you read a sentence alone, you should have a very good idea of what that paragraph is talking about. If you can read a sentence and know what the entire paragraph is talking about, because the sentence is clear, that is your topic sentence. Any other questions on the summary? There's no word as criterions. I'm not sure what question you're asking there, Vivo. I don't even know what that is saying. What? Past. Look, type that thing over, man. Okay, yeah, I can repeat. So what I'm saying, your topic sentence is going to be the sentence that clearly discusses what the entire paragraph is talking about. It will be a clear sentence that gives you a good idea what the whole paragraph is saying. When you read that topic sentence alone, you should have a good idea of what it's talking about. If that sentence has it and they and other pronouns, they it cannot work. It must be a sentence that clearly examines what the entire paragraph is about. For instance, let me read something. Let me get something random here and read for you. What do I have? What do I have? Right. Mm. Good. I have a paragraph here. Here. It says atopy is a result of complex interaction between multiple genes and environmental factors. It implies specific IgE antibodies against diseases including allergic rhinitis, asthma, atopic dermatitis. An allergen is an antigen that triggers an IgE response in a genetically predisposed individual. So, what will your topic sentence be, and what would it not be? It started by saying atopy is a result of a complex interaction between genes and environmental factors. That sounds good. If I read a sentence to you alone, even if you don't know what the word atopy means, it sounds as though it's defining what atopy means. Good. If I say it implies specific IgE antibodies, you don't know what the meaning of it is, so you would not choose that as your topic sentence. If you have a sentence that says it, this, that can be your topic sentence. Your topic sentence has to be a clear sentence. Does that make sense? That's random. This is the first thing I saw, so that's what I had to use. Sorry. Does that make sense? It can be at the top, it can be at the bottom, it can be at the middle. It's also at the top though. Any questions? With the linking points and examples, okay. All right. 3 of 69. 3 of the 6 questions. The linking ones. Okay, let me give you a linking point that you can use in the exam. So let's say we were talking about why people should wear masks. Some diseases can be spread by air. Owing to that, wearing a mask is very important. See that? Owing to that. Because of that, wearing a mask is important. However, some diseases are spread through other means, such as physical contact, sexually, by food, water, etc. That there will be examples. Your summary should not include those examples there, right? But I'm just trying to show you the word however, using the word however, using that word owing to that, another linking word. Consequently, it'll be another linking word. Let's say when people irresponsibly go out into public without wearing their masks, the results can be catastrophic. Consequently, people can transfer, spread the disease knowingly or unknowingly. Consequently, meaning as a result of something. Right? Good. That's your point there. Right off the bat from my head. Does that make sense? Does that give a little insight into what I'm talking about? Or is not very helpful? I want to tired. I want to sleep. I'm getting tired now, so I hope it's still making sense. Is that making sense, guys? Yes, no. I mean, they can appear anywhere. First sentence, second sentence, last sentence. Can be anywhere. Yeah, let's take a 2 minutes break now and we will talk about the section B next, and that will wrap it up for tonight. Take 2 minutes, take a stretch, and then we'll come back and wrap up section B. Good. So the section B is the only element of surprise. Everything else is going to be on the exam that we know is going to be there, except section B. Section B can be an sorry. Section B can be an email, a report, a letter, a memo, a notice. I said report already, right? I think so. Then letter, email, report, memo, notice. Those can be what the section B is about. I have videos here on all of those. I'm not going to go through the format of each of them. What I want to let you know, the format though is very important. So if anything that you're going to learn, you want to make sure you learn the formats well. The format is what going to give you the marks. Now, different teachers will teach formatting differently. I have my way. I have put it here on the channel. I'm not going to chastise you or what your teacher told you, but there are just some basics that you must do. Writing your dates out in full, um, writing proper paragraphs, making sure you have a subject line or a reference line. Make sure you sign at the bottom of your um, notice for a notice board, a report, things of that nature. Definitely want to sign your letter as well. Right? Good. So what I want you to work on, make sure you're able to identify the format of an email versus a letter. The letter actually has an actual address. The email has an electronic address. So you have at gmail.com, at yahoo.com for the email. So from, to, subject. Dear sir, madam, and you go on to talking about the thing. The email is the same structure as the letter. All that is different is that address bit, right? What you want to make sure you do is to always write paragraph form. Make sure you have an introduction, conclusion. It doesn't have to be anything lengthy, but just a line to summarize what you're spoken about. You have a line to introduce what you're talking about, and your body will give the necessary information, the details. Right? And one thing, if you're writing a letter or an email and you know the person's name, let's say the person's name is John Doe. Dear Mr. John Doe. Once you know that person's name, you will end with yours sincerely or sincerely yours. If you do not know the person's name and you said dear sir or madam, you will end with yours faithfully. I'll say it again. If you don't know the person's name and you said dear sir, madam, you will end with yours faithfully. If you know the person's name, you included that person's name, you will end with yours sincerely. Is that clear? Last year was an email. I think a letter will come this year. I think a letter will come this year. So you have to make sure you have letter writing under control. I have a video here on YouTube on how to write a letter and an email. Please check that out while you still have the time to do it. Right? How much paragraph in the body for the email? It depends on you, you know. There's no. I don't like when students ask questions like that because I don't want to make it sound scripted. You have to write 5 paragraphs. You have to write 3 paragraphs. No, you don't. Right? It's up to you. No, you wouldn't end best regards for a letter. That sounds like a phrase for an email, not a letter. Like I said to you just now, once you mention a person's name, you end with yours sincerely. If you don't know the person's name, you said, dear sir, madam, you end with yours faithfully. That's how you end. Stick to those 2 endings. Alright, I'm happy you were watching those videos today, Adam. I'm happy they were helpful to you. Any other questions? We're wrapping up now. Random questions now. Go ahead and answer. Questions, guys. We can spend another 5 minutes here to ask you questions, to answer questions. Is there a word limit? The only strong limit is for the summary. Everything else is flexible. You can do as much as you can do, just once you include the information that is important to the marker. But the summary, you have to stick to that limit. But that's the only thing you really have to stick to limit for. Yeah, most of the mark is actually based on formatting. That's why I'm telling you, make sure you know your format and know it well. A lot of the chunk of the mark, and it's free marks really, is for the formatting. So you just want to make sure you get that under control. Any other questions? Yeah, you can write a story based on anything, whether from your experience, anything you can write a story from. I don't understand what you're asking, Dayton. Yeah, you can add additional information to what they have given you that is relevant to the point that you're writing on. Yes, you can add important information that's relevant. Right? You can. Yes. You don't have to use any fancy word. You can keep it simple. Simplicity, I like to say, is the essence of life. Mm? You don't have to always be trying to be fancy. Mm? The essence of life is simplicity. Any other question, guys? No. The word count that is there, especially for the story, for the essay, is just to guide you what we think is an adequate word count for you to express enough information to get a decent grade. For example, I marked the short story last year. Nobody penalizes you if you go over that limit, because it's not really a limit, but it's just there to give you a count that is adequate for you to have a decent grade, if that makes sense. The best short stories are often way above the limit. Once you're able to do that in 45 minutes, do it. I hope that's clear. Um, I'm not sure if I'll be marking papers this year, because my exams extend into July. So I'm not sure if I'll be free to mark this year. But if I'm done with my exams and they're still marking, I'll help out. I already discussed the summary. I have a YouTube channel. I have two YouTube videos on the channel that talk about the summary. I'm not talking about that again. I spoke about that already. Anything else? No. All right. So we're wrapping up now. Read it. What's the best way to approach a paper one comprehension? Read it. That's the best way. Read it. It's just right there. The answer is literally right there. All you have to do is pick out the answer. Yeah, just gotta take your time and read it, man. It's right there. But people often get flabbergasted when there's a lot of reading pieces. Just take your time and peruse through it. The craziest story I've ever marked? I can't tell you. I can't tell you. It was the very first paper I marked last year. But I can't talk about it. It wasn't crazy in terms of the content, it was just surprising. It was actually a Guyanese paper. But we were not supposed to talk about things like that. But yeah. It was a good story though. Child should have gotten a grade one overall. Don't worry, I'm sure you guys will do well. Please remember to hit me up when the grades come out so we can celebrate those grades together. But I'm sure you guys will do very, very well. Right? All the very best. Remember you're doing this not just for you, but for your families as well. For many of you, writing CXC exam is a big deal. It's a big deal because it will open doors for you and open doors for your family, right? So you want to make sure you do your very best, you put everything you can put into these exams. Because at the end of the day, this is what you will need to move on to university. Remember, you just want to pass. Yes, you want to excel, you want to get grade ones and so on, but at the end of the day, make sure you pass, right? I'm not a CXC spokesperson, so I don't know when the results will come out. That's a CXC question, right? Make yourselves proud because you work for whatever your grades are going to be. So make yourselves very proud. I remember the more you sacrifice, the better you will perform. So make sure you sacrifice and make sure you make yourselves very, very proud. Right? It was nice working with you. There will not be another live before the exam. I am doing it now because it's the time I'm getting now. I'll be more busy later on. So I'm taking the opportunity to do it now. I wish you the very best. When I wrote my first exams many years ago, it was Agricultural Science Paper 3. I was very nervous. It was a double award exam, so if you get one grade one, you get two grade ones. I was very nervous. Well, I used to do well in school, but it's just that none of that mattered anymore. All that mattered is how you perform on that exam. So the performance was definitely one that people expected a great lot out of me, and with that pressure and all of that, I had to really calm myself in the exam to say, you know what, calm down. You read this book twice. You know what is going on here. Just apply the knowledge. Take your time. Calm down. It took like a 10 minutes in the 10 to 15 minutes in the exam just to calm myself down. And after then, it was smooth sailing. It was just another exam like you normally write in school. So just calm yourselves down. Yes, a lot of it is hinging on these exams, but it's just another exam that you've written before, or something similar to what you've written before. So just take your time and go into it with the optimism that there's a blessing in showing up. I'll tell you what, when I was in school, my dream was always, 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 always to be a medical doctor. Somewhere along the line, though, I started teaching, and I will still always say it's the best thing I've ever done with my life. Um, this is my last year of medical school, so I'll be practicing medicine after now. So I will not be teaching. At least I don't think I will be teaching. But when I wrote CXE, I had a personal hatred for chemistry. And I keep telling people over and over, I made up my mind 3 times the morning of the exam to not go to write CXC chemistry. And I'm telling you now, when I went to the exam, it was hard, it was hell, but I struggled through. And I will tell you the truth. If I did not go and write that exam that day, I could not have been where I am today. So, 16-year-old you might be overwhelmed, but you can do this. Anything you put your mind to, you can do. Tell yourself you can do it. Even if you don't feel like you can do it, tell yourself, I can do this. If people have done this before you, why can't you? Nothing separates them from you. You can all do it. And if they can do it, so can you. So start telling yourself these positive things. Sometimes we often downplay ourselves. We often tell ourselves, I can't do this. This is above me. But you have to tell yourself you can do it. Right? So keep working, keep sacrificing, and make yourselves very, very proud. Right? I look forward to see who will remember me to give me a message when the results come out. I always just stay back and just look to see who's gonna message. I want to see some of these same names here to remember when the results come out. Right? You will be penalized for misspelling. Yes, you will be penalized for misspelling. Good. All right, guys. So take care. And remember, you have my WhatsApp number there in case you have. Keep them short. Keep the messages short. I'll try to respond to all of them, but keep them short, please. All right. Please don't send me your life story. I really don't care about it. But just keep your messages short. Good. Good luck. All the best. You can do this. Don't worry. I'm confident in your abilities. Remember, you can't be ugly and lazy. And most of you are born ugly already. So you have to be working hard, right? So all the best. Work hard. Make yourselves proud. Bye bye. Thank you.